Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister and Honourable Leader for Opposition and Honourable Members of Parliament, I rise to add my contribution to those Honourable Members who have spoken before me, particularly on this side of the House, commending the Honourable Minister for Economy and his team for a comprehensive and forward-looking 2016-17 national budget. Madam Speaker, I support the intentions of the budget, both in its capacity to deal with current realities and its endeavour to improve Fiji's overall social and economic landscape for higher growth. The budget, Madam Speaker, supports a broad-based growth that is conducive to the plight of the disadvantaged in our communities. Madam Speaker, my Assistant Minister has spoken much on rural development, and I just wish to touch on, particularly as Minister responsible for disaster management, on the recovery and rehabilitation efforts after Cyclone Winston. Madam Speaker, our rehabilitation efforts are geared towards building back better approach, one that is more proactive and reactive. And I wish to comment on a few statements made in this honourable House, Madam Speaker, particularly on housing and those that are still living in tents. Madam Speaker, it is a fact that recovery takes time and it needs resources. And I've already answered 2 questions in this honourable House, and I've also stated, Madam Speaker, that recovery takes time, and we need, or it will be available once we have the resources. Madam Speaker, to deviate from that, then we are deliberately lying to the people. Let's face facts. There is a recovery plan, and people will be given assistance when funds are available. Madam Speaker, I must also emphasize the fact that particularly with homes, we are all responsible for our homes, but it is government that is providing some assistance. And we will appreciate, whoever receives any assistance will appreciate the fact that government is willing to assist, Madam Speaker. There is public infrastructure to deal with first. And we have a huge list, Madam Speaker. So let's face facts. And let's not, if we deviate from those, then we are intentionally lying to the people of Fiji. There is a recovery plan, and we will assist when time comes, when the resources are available. Madam Speaker, on the issues raised yesterday on climate change by the Honourable Nawekula, Madam Speaker, the Karoko seawall was constructed by an NGO and not government. Madam Speaker, because the intention of the honourable member is to discredit government for the quality of the work done. However, Madam Speaker, I must state before this honourable House that that project was undertaken by an NGO through US aid funding, Madam Speaker. However, I have asked my engineers to go and have a look and assist, if need be, subject to their visitation this morning. And for the Kanakana project, Madam Speaker, it's done in phases. The first phase was just the river alignment because of the flash flooding that occurs in the village. And the second phase, Madam Speaker, will be the walls. So that again will depend on the scoping. So my team are working on it, Madam Speaker. Very briefly, Madam Speaker, the Ministry is generally thankful to its development partners, particularly the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the UNDP, Australia, New Zealand and the European Union for their dedication and support towards the government's recovery plan for agriculture. In addition to this, the Ministry has made a submission to the European Union to fund rehabilitation works. Madam Speaker, some comments have been raised in this honourable House about the allocation to agriculture for an increase. Madam Speaker, you would note that in Set 50, when we will come to the discussions, the EDF 11 by the European Union is providing $23 million for the agriculture sector. And we have been advised already to make submissions, and the Ministry, the non-sugar agriculture, has already applied for a 15 million allocation, given the guidance that we were given, that we probably will get 3/4 of that allocation of the 23 million, Madam Speaker. So that is additional to the 2.1 million that we have already expanded on agricultural rehabilitation alone, Madam Speaker. And As you go around, Madam Speaker, people now are harvesting the vegetables, the kumala, and they are recovering in their food security, Madam Speaker. And also, you can see that it also has impacted on the pricing in the local markets for areas that have started harvesting. So vegetable prices and of course root crop prices in some areas have come down, and it's most likely that the other areas will follow as well, Madam Speaker. On the same note, Madam Speaker, the arrival of the aid funds has given the Ministry some flexibility in the utilization of its allocated budget, carrying out the rehabilitation work for agriculture development. Madam Speaker, the Ministry has contributed an estimated 2.4 million in the recovery efforts so far, which I've stated, Madam Speaker, which includes the mobilization of staff, the distribution of planting materials, livestock, farm inputs, light machineries to facilitate the rebuilding and recovery process in the affected areas. This has translated into the restoration of food for our people as well as for organized markets. For certain products that are now reflected in falling prices from the heights they reached immediately in early March. This has been possible from the Ministry's strategy to appropriate production from non-affected areas to substitute for losses anticipated from affected localities. Madam Speaker, we are confident that with the allocation provided for different programs, we will be able to pick up the pace and strengthen our recovery efforts. The Crop Extension Division, Madam Speaker, has received a 41% increment in its capital programs. I think this was raised by the Honorable Kiliraki yesterday about the allocation to the Extension Division, Madam Speaker. Of course, we value the work undertaken by the Extension Division, and therefore there has been a 41% increment in its capital programs, as well as 37% increment for the Animal Health and Production Division, Madam Speaker. On aggregate, these amount to $4.5 million. Other increases, Madam Speaker, are noted in the Ministry's crop research, livestock research, land drainage, flood protection, and land resources development, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, please allow me to outline details of the individual programs within the Ministry's budget and the relevant activities to be carried out over the new financial year. Crop development, Madam Speaker, forms a major part of the Ministry's focus, and for this, a total of $15.4 million has been allocated under this budget. The Honorable Ngavoka yesterday talked about improving the organized systems. Definitely we are doing that, Madam Speaker. We were interrupted by Winston, but we have started now with the private sector, and of course we have started in Navosa because of the cultivation of drugs in that area as well, and with Michael Joe of Joe's Farm and ADRA, which is from the Seventh-day Adventist. So it's a partnership between government, non-government organizations, and of course the private sector. They are in the process now of building nurseries, Madam Speaker, so that they can raise the seedlings and distribute to the farmers that are in the group, and they will collect. Agriculture Ministry will provide the technical expertise, and that has started last week, Madam Speaker. And we are going to organize the rest of Fiji geographically with farming clusters, market-oriented, and looking at the whole value chain. And I'm talking value chain, Madam Speaker. It starts from the farm level, then we look at the logistics in between, we look at storage sheds, we look at cold storages, and the most important thing in this, Madam Speaker, is the market itself. Because the theory about smallholder farmers, Madam Speaker, for Fiji particularly, this is something that we have found lately from our statistics. For Fiji particularly, when you look at the pyramid, at the high end of the pyramid, only a few percentage of our farmers are commercial farmers. The rest are within the two next levels of classification. One is farmers who are transitioning into market-oriented activities. And then the majority of farmers in Fiji are traditional farmers, who are subsistence farmers. But they can be a vast army if organized well, Madam Speaker. And that is a strength for us. It was seen as a weakness previously. But we are organizing them into these groups with their markets, and we're looking at the whole value chain, looking at all the levels of investment, whether it be the public sector, private sector, or the on-farm level investment. And hopefully, 2016-17, Madam Speaker, we will start a revolution in agriculture for Fiji, particularly transitioning from traditional subsistence farmers into market-oriented, and they can later on graduate into commercial farmers, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the ministry has recently conducted consultations with the local agro-processors to determine demand for locally produced raw materials that the ministry will target in its 2016 crop development program. One example, Madam Speaker, Agrana is in Sigatoka. Agrana processes pineapple, processes banana, processes guava, processes passion fruit. Because the problem with farmers in Fiji, particularly rural farmers, when they grew up in rural areas, they only know about one market. For those in Serua and Namosi, they only know about the Nabua market. For us in Telebu, we only know about Corvo and Nosori and supermarkets. They are not aware that there are processors, that they are not aware that there are exporters, there are the hotel industry, the retailers. Madam Speaker, it's going to be exciting the way we are looking at things, particularly working with the private sector. To that end, Madam Speaker, farmers are encouraged also to make the use of the incentives provided by government in the form of agro-input subsidies, livestock feed subsidies, farm mechanization, and land preparation programs. Madam Speaker, I will not go into the details, but the Honorable Tirada raised this last year. We have again increased the allocation on land clearing from 800,000 to 2 million. Because smallholder farmers, they have two problems. They use, it's not highly mechanized and it's not highly capitalized, Madam Speaker. So for us to assist them, we need to absorb most of these costs. And that is what government is doing through the flatland drainage, through the flatland development, through the farm mechanization allocation, and through the land clearing allocation, Madam Speaker. So that will bring a lot of relief to our farmers, Madam Speaker. A total of 6.9 million has been allocated for livestock program with its focus on brucellosis and tuberculosis eradication. This is unfortunate, Madam Speaker. As much as we want to grow, but we are held back because of diseases. But we are doing our best through the BTEC allocation to eradicate brucellosis and likewise TB, and then bringing efficiency, particularly to our dairy industry, and of course to the rest of the livestock sector as well. It is worthy to note, Madam Speaker, that the fight against brucellosis and tuberculosis will be an ongoing battle for the ministry, given the nature of the transmission of the diseases. Madam Speaker, for our support services, crop research has been allocated 7.2 million during the new financial year, with a main focus on development of seed and planting material, construction of agronomy building, construction of tissue culture laboratory, and agricultural research services on root crops, tree crops, and horticulture. This again was raised by the Shadow Minister, the Honourable Kiruraki, yesterday. Madam Speaker, we are aggressive on research, Madam Speaker. Of course, we are mindful of climate change, we are mindful of diseases, and of course, the need for good quality planting materials as well. And that is one of the reasons why we have special allocation for the tissue culture laboratory, and particularly again for Yangona. Madam Speaker, Yangona has got a problem with the dieback disease, and we want to mass multiply Yangona planting material, and likewise for Ndalo as well, and that is why the need for the tissue culture laboratory. And Madam Speaker, I am also thankful that the private sector has also taken up this initiative, and hopefully during or before the end of the year, we will commission the first private tissue culture laboratory in Fiji that will be in Wainumbuku area. For those that want to farm in Wembau, maybe they can get the planting material from that area, Madam Speaker. The development of high-quality seeds is also a focus, Madam Speaker, and planting materials is crucial to the sector, and given its guarantee for high productivity and yield and quality of final products for the domestic exports. And of course, I've mentioned about the tissue culture laboratory for that purpose, Madam Speaker. Land and water resource is a major component of our work, Madam Speaker, and 13.6 million has been allocated. We do river dredging, and we do drainage maintenance as well. And Madam Speaker, that includes the design and construction of riverbank boulders to prevent coastal erosion as well. And one of the major projects for the new financial year that was raised by the Honorable Ngaboka is the desilting of the Singatok River. And the tender has already gone out, Madam Speaker, and that will be funded, one of the major projects under the projects under this 13.6 million allocation, Madam Speaker. National additional funding, Madam Speaker, is to improve irrigation of rain-fed areas in the northern and the central division. In the areas of watershed management, the objective is to optimize the use of surplus water for social and economic growth through increased agriculture production, provide water for domestic and irrigation purposes in drought-prone regions during dry seasons, and increase water yield while maintaining water quality. Madam Speaker, the 2020 agriculture sector policy agenda talks about modernization and industrialization. And part of this modernization plan, Madam Speaker, is drainage and irrigation. The Honorable Leader of the NFP would agree with me in the notable changes that have taken place in Mundewo and the Ndaketi area with the irrigation schemes, Madam Speaker, and we will expect an increase in rice production from the area when drainage and irrigation issues have been sorted, Madam Speaker. This is critical for us, particularly during dry spells, and we are going through a lot of these dry spells, Madam Speaker. There has to be consistency and reliability in supply, there has to be volumes, and there has to be qualities, Madam Speaker. And this is why in the modernization plan we need technology, including irrigation, so that we can meet the expectations of the market, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, making informed decisions on which type of agricultural development in the different geographical regions of Fiji is impossible without available and appropriate statistics. Allow me to elaborate on activities carried out by the Ministry of Agriculture on continuously improving the quality and reliability of agriculture data on which sound decisions are made. To date, the 3 provinces of Naitasiri, Seru, and Namosi have had their baseline survey review completed. That is the review, Madam Speaker. We have taken the details, the data of all the farming activities in Fiji, and we are still encouraging farmers to go and register. And I know that some farmers have just registered lately, Madam Speaker, because for us, if we need to have effective plans, then we must know our numbers. We must know the facts, Madam Speaker. This is an area that we struggled with in the last few years. There was no reliable data. And Madam Speaker, we are working with FAO and of course SPC as well and the National Bureau of Statistics. And hopefully, Madam Speaker, I have presented the first report, the in-country depth report, to the Commission in Bangkok in the 72nd Commission meeting last month, Madam Speaker. And hopefully at the end of the exercise, agriculture statistics becomes official. Meaning, Madam Speaker, today, all statistics is released by National Bureau of Statistics. But if we complete this exercise, universities, whoever needs data that is released from agriculture will become official. And I think this is a major achievement for us. And on that as well, Madam Speaker, I had the pleasure of opening the National Stakeholders Meeting on developing Fiji's first e-agriculture strategy. We are amongst a few countries in the world that have gone now into e-agriculture strategy, where the information will be given to the farmers, whether through mobile or through internet. Even moisture levels, marketing information. Madam Speaker, we live in a globalized world. Technology is a driver for change, and we want our farmers to be included in this because it's consistent with governance plans not to leave anyone behind, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Agriculture, as you are well aware, has embarked on the road to modernize and industrialize the agriculture sector, as outlined in the Fiji 2020 Agriculture Sector Policy Agenda. And this has been the move to more mechanized crop planting, harvesting methods, and increased efforts in the ministry, working closely with the private sector. This would lead to more technological innovation in agro-processing and the whole value chain. Madam Speaker, let me conclude by congratulating the Minister for Economy and his team for a well-thought-out and forward-looking budget, which in my view augurs well for our future economic development. Madam Speaker, I join the other members of the House that have commended the 2016-17 government budget presented by the Minister for Economy by offering my own commendations. Thank you, Madam Speaker.